Hello, my friend. From my house to yours, God bless you. God bless you today. You know, beginning on Monday, September the 14th, we're going to do something that I'm very excited about. We're going to journey through the Gospel of John together. We're going to spend most of the fall working our way through the Gospel of John, based in part on a new book that comes out on September 14th that I wrote. It's called You Are Never Alone. What a necessary and needed promise today. We're going to work our way through the Gospel of John together. Now, if you want to get the book, that'd be great. That'd be a great supplement to our conversation. If you don't want the book, hey, that's entirely up to you. The study will be a blessing regardless. You can get the book wherever books are sold. You can order it online. You can find it on my webpage there, Amazon.com, wherever. What's important, folks, is that we focus on Christ. We're going to begin that on September the 14th. Today, can I just remind you of just a powerful promise, and that is your prayers have power. Your prayers matter to God. Your prayers are heard in heaven. I need about 8 minutes to unpack this precious promise. If you don't want to invest 8 minutes in that topic, before you go, let us know how to pray for you by posting your prayer needs on the page, and we'll be sure and pray for you. But if you can stay around, if you like the reminder that you're never without hope because you're never without prayer, hang around. I accompanied my wife, Deanlin, on some errand running some months back in the pre-pandemic days. We stopped at this store that's called Office Max. She wanted to buy a new calendar. As we walked through the parking lot, I thought it was important that I remind her, this is my store. After all, the name of the store is Office Max, and my name is Max, so this is my store. Well, she was unimpressed. She didn't think that was very funny. Well, I hurried to the front door, and I held it open. And I said, honey, come into my store. She rolled her eyes at me. You know, I used to think that the rolling of the eyes was this gesture of frustration. After nearly 40 years of marriage, I now realize it's actually a symbol of admiration. After all, she does it so often. She's always rolling her eyes. I've decided that's a picture of her admiration. So I continued my posturing as we shopped, thanking her for coming to my store to buy products off of my shelves. She just rolled her eyes at me. I think she was speechless. She was so impressed with me. When we reached the checkout line, I told the clerk of my status. I arched an eyebrow and I deepened my voice and I said, hello, I'm Max. Well, she smiled and she proceeded to process the sale. So obviously she didn't get it. So I said, as in Office Max. She looked at me and then at Deanlin. Deanlin did that gesture of admiration again. She rolled her eyes, such admiration for her husband. I was getting a little embarrassed, started to blush. I said, I'm the boss of this store. I'm the boss of this place. In fact, if you'd like to take the afternoon off, then why don't you just go ahead and do so? Why don't you just take a break? You look like you're a hard worker. And if anyone asks you where you've gone, just tell them that Max of Office Max told you to take a break. Tell them that the owner of Office Max told you that you could go home. This time, she stopped. She stopped and she looked at me and she said, sir, I got to tell you, you got the name, but you don't have the clout. You know, she was right. She was right about me. But the same, my friend, cannot be said about you. If you have the name, you have the clout. If you've taken on the name of Christ, you have clout with the most powerful being in the universe. And when you speak, God listens. And when you pray, heaven pauses and takes note. Jesus said, when two of you get together on anything at all on earth and make a prayer out of it, my Father in heaven goes into action. Matthew chapter 18 and verse 19. Friend, you need to know that your prayers impact the actions of God. Your prayers impact the actions of God. My Bible is open to the Old Testament so we can illustrate this from the life of Moses. Some of the enemies of the Hebrews attacked them. It appears that the battle occurred in the valley, but as we read, we realize that the battle was taking place somewhere else. Down in the valley, the swords were flashing. That's where the soldiers were fighting. That's where the arrows were flying. The battle, again, to the common observer, the battle appeared to be in the valley, but it wasn't. It wasn't. According to Exodus chapter 17, the battle was somewhere else. Joshua obeyed Moses and went to fight the Amalekites, while Moses, Aaron, and Hur went to the top of the hill. As long as Moses held his hands up, the Israelites prevailed. But when Moses lowered his hands, when he put his hands down, the Amalekites would prevail. Later, when Moses' arms grew weary and tired, the men put a large rock under him, and he sat down on it. Then Aaron and Hur held up Moses' hands, Aaron on one side and Hur on the other. They kept his hands steady until the sun went down. So Joshua defeated the Amalekites in this battle. Is that not a great story? Again, you can read that on your own in Exodus chapter 17. And ask the question, where was the decisive battle being waged? Where was it? By the soldiers with their spears, or by Moses in prayer? What determined the outcome? What determined the outcome? Was it the military savvy of Joshua or the intercessory activity of Moses? Friend, the battle was won not by human strength, but by God's power. The battle was won because of prayer. Another Jew would state it with these words. The Apostle Paul said, "We do live in the world, but we do not fight in the same way that the world fights. No, we fight with weapons that are different. We fight with weapons that are different from those the world uses." And he goes on to say that our weapons have power from God. Power from God that can destroy the enemy's strongholds or strong places. That's in 2 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 3. Isn't that what we need, folks? We need power. We need power from God. We need power from God to destroy the enemy's strong places. Maybe the devil has a strong hold on you. If so, stand firmly on this promise. When a believing person prays, great things happen. When a believing person prays, great things happen. James chapter 5 and verse 16. So you're never without hope, my friend, because you're never without prayer. Make this day the day that you take your concerns to your Heavenly Father in prayer. Prayer is not the last resort. It's the first step. God has power. God has power that you've never seen. He's ready to... give you strength that you've never known. Now, just turn your heart to your Heavenly Father in prayer. And if you'll excuse me, I've got some business to attend. I need to check on Remax, CarMax, Lotto Max. It's not easy keeping up with all this business. Just kidding. Have a great day, my friend, and may God hear your prayer.